An animated short story, A Lady Taking a Taxi into the Darkness, is brought to you by Triple Stories, the online platform for short stories. A taxi driver was driving in the darkest hour of the night when he picked up a scantily clad lady who seemed to be running away in a fit of desperation. "Maddox Avenue," shouted the lady as she slammed the door. The taxi driver turned his head and smiled and started driving. The lady started talking. "I'm not trying to look sexy. It's the only clothes I found. So don't look at me like I'm a whore, okay? Oh, how embarrassing." The taxi driver turned his head and smiled. "Hey, driver," continued the lady, "you don't mind if I ask you a silly question? Do you believe in aliens? I was skeptical before, not until a few days ago, or months I suppose. I was attending a party held by a friend of mine that day and it ended very night. I didn't want to be late for work the next day, so I decided to take a shortcut to the taxi stand. Then I saw a light from a distance and thought it was a taxi. But I was wrong. Can you guess? It was from a flying saucer, which was hovering in my direction. Yes, you heard me right. It was a goddamn flying saucer. The flying saucer cast a ray of light which literally scooped me off the ground and lifted me into its belly. The next thing I knew, I was stripped naked with all sorts of tubes plugged into my body and I was surrounded by purple aliens. Those aliens had 6 beady eyes and a face looked like a cat's arse. I was so weak and dizzy all the time that I couldn't move. And all those aliens were treating me like a human guinea pig and fed me with nothing but filthy liquid. They were barbarians, absolute barbarians. The taxi driver turned his head and smiled. And chance had it one of the tubes that fell off and I gained my strength to break free. It was fortunate that the spaceship was still on Earth. The aliens most probably wanted more human guinea pigs. Do you always work night shift? Your family must be very worried about you driving in such dangerous nights. I can imagine how my family members might feel about my disappearance and how desperate my boyfriend must be. Punching my phone number day in day out. I left my phone and everything in that spaceship, you see. Yes, my wallet as well, but not to worry, I'll definitely pay the taxi fare once I got home. You can kick me out if you want. All I want, after all, is to get away and not get captured again by those aliens." The taxi driver turned his head and smiled. "Hey," the lady said, "are you sure you're taking me to the Meadows Avenue? We are still nowhere in the city." The taxi driver turned his head and smiled. This time, the face of the taxi driver melted and exposed a purple head with 6 beady eyes and a face that looks like a cat's arse. The driver stepped on the gas pedal and the taxi flew and accelerated towards a dark tunnel. The tunnel was surrounded by a mysterious ring of cozy lights and within it was pitch black darkness. It turned out to be a portal of a wormhole and they traveled 1 trillion light years into the galaxy. That's the end of the story. Please feel free to upload your stories to my website and get free reviews.